Today I'm going to be talking about the Lost Cities card game. Lost Cities is a card game for two players in which you depart on expeditions. And you do that by playing expedition cards in any one of the 5 colors or suits. And as you depart on expeditions, you earn points for each expedition, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. The game starts by dealing each person 8 cards. Then you put the rest of the cards in a card supply pile. Now these cards are in 5 suits, and they have the numbers 2 through 10 in each suit. And there's only 1 card for each number and suit. There are also handshake cards, which I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. A player's turn consists of 2 things. The first thing is playing a card, and there are 2 ways to do that. The second thing is taking a card, and there are 2 ways to take a card. So let's go through playing a card first. When you play a card, you can play it to your own tableau. And by playing a card in a certain suit, that is departing on that expedition. You don't have to depart on all your expeditions, and if you choose not to depart on a certain expedition, you just earn 0 points for that expedition. You can also, instead of playing a card to your tableau and adding to an expedition, you can discard a card. And you do that by placing it on the appropriate spot on the board. So that's how you play a card. The second action you take in your turn is you take a card. And you can either take a card from the card supply, or you can take a card from the discard piles. And let's say that there were some other cards here. I could choose any one of these cards, but I can only take the topmost card. In fact, I can only look at the topmost card. I'm not allowed to look and sift through and see what other discards are in that pile. I can only take the topmost card. So that's the second part of my turn, is I would take a card from here or from the discard piles. Now let's talk about scoring. You score the number of points that are on the card. So if I play a 2 green card, that earns me 2 points. Now there's one trick here though with scoring, and that is that each expedition starts out with negative 20 points. And I kind of think of this as going into debt to be able to go on the expedition. I have to succeed and go to a certain point in the expedition before I start making money. And that's the case here. So if I play a 2, my score for this expedition is negative 20 points plus 2. So I would be negative 18 points right here. Now there's one more type of card that's going to influence your scoring, and that is the handshake card that I mentioned earlier. There are 3 handshake cards in each suit. Each handshake card acts as a multiplier. And so if I lay 1 handshake card in the red expedition, for example, that's going to double whatever my score for the red expedition is at the end of the round. If I play 2 handshake cards, it's going to triple. And if I play 3 handshake cards, it's going to quadruple the score for that expedition. Now there's some danger here because the handshake cards will double, triple, or quadruple your score, both positive and negative. So if I go on the red expedition and I end up with negative 5 points and 3 handshake cards, then I'm actually going to go quadruple negative 5. So I'd end up at negative 20 for that expedition. So these can be very powerful, but they're also somewhat dangerous. Now there's another rule when playing cards, and that is you can only play cards that are higher than what has already been played. So in this case, I played a 2 in green. I can now only play 3 and higher. Therefore, it's dangerous to play a high card in an expedition early on. If I play an 8 in the blue expedition here, I can now only play the 9 and 10 on top of this. Handshake cards are considered to be the lowest cards in the deck. You have to play the handshake cards before you play any number cards. So in that case, in the green expedition and the blue expedition, I could no longer play handshake cards here. Now there's one last scoring rule, and that is that if somebody gets 8 or more cards in a particular expedition by the end of the round, they get a bonus 20 points. So that's how you play the game. Now the round ends when you get to the very last card in the supply deck. And as soon as somebody takes the very last card in the supply deck, that round instantly ends and there are no more turns. The game plays over 3 rounds, or 3 to 5 rounds I should say. If you want to play a shorter game, play 3 rounds. If you want to play a longer game, or what's considered to be a full-size game, then it's 5 rounds. And even a full game doesn't take that long. You're looking at 30 to 40 minutes. And then at the end of the 3 or 5 rounds, you'll total up all your scores from each round, and the person with the highest score wins. So that's Lost Cities. It's a very simple game to learn, yet it has a lot of great decisions that you have to make throughout the game, and it plays very quickly. So I hope you give it a try.